tuple is exactly same as list. Both are the collection of the heterogeneous object. If I check it out, this the representation of tuple is like this one. Okay, and again it is the collection of the heterogeneous item. For example, 10, 20, 30 and so on. Whatever you want to write, you can write over here. Okay, so this is the concept of the tuple, exactly same, there is nothing difference, but this is the concept of the, we know it very well, this is the concept of the immutable objects. Immutable object, that you are not supposed to change any content. Okay, if I show you the tuple over here, now these parentheses will represent this as a tuple. Okay, this will represent as a tuple. Now if I check out the type, then you will get the type of T is tuple. Okay, now if I want to check out the method which are associated with tuple, there are only two methods, that's it. The two methods that is available inside the tuple, the count and index. Okay, for the same, let's suppose this one is the tuple and we have 10 two times, so I want to count it out, T dot count. Okay, count of 10. Now you will get 2. That's mean because 2 times 10 is present over there. So one more time, if I use the index, okay, index of 10, now you will get the first index. That's mean the 10 is present on the 0th index. There are only two methods. You cannot append. Okay, you cannot append, you cannot clear. Okay, for example, let's suppose I use this function append. Now immediately you will get the error message. Why so? Because tuple object has no attribute, that is the append. Kyun? Why so? Because this is the concept of the immutable. Okay, the list is the concept of the mutable, the tuple is the concept of the immutable. The immutable object, you are not supposed to add the content, you are not supposed to change the content, but rest of the things are same. You can do the slicing and indexing. If I do the slicing, then you will get the 10. Okay, rest of things are exactly same, there is no difference. The difference is only this one is the mutable and the second one is the immutable, and there are two methods only. The one is the index and the second one is the count. That's it. There are no more methods that are associated with the tuple. You cannot do sorting. Okay, let's suppose you try to do sort, then you will get the error message. Okay, you cannot do the clear, you cannot clear the content. If I check it, if I show you, then you can check it out. Okay, you cannot do it because you are not supposed to change the data. Clear means that you are cleaning the data, and that is not acceptable in the case of the tuple. So this is the only difference between list and tuple. Sometimes we are supposed to use tuple and sometimes we are supposed to use list. When we have to use this tuple, when we want, nobody can change the data but can iterate the data. Okay, for iteration, that we know very well, for I in T and you are printing it, print of I, exactly same. Now you can check out the output, the exactly same output, the same in the case of the list, whatever we got in the case of the list. Okay, so last time we learned a new concept that is called the, this one is the concept. This concept is called list comprehension. Okay, this concept is called list comprehension. Automatically the output is generated. So here the concept same. Okay, the concept is same, the same exactly, you can do it. The only difference is the parenthesis. Okay, only difference is parenthesis. Now what is this? So keep into the mind, in the case of list, okay, if I use these parentheses, then this concept is called list comprehension. Okay, this concept is called list comprehension. But in the case of tuple, there is no such concept that is called tuple comprehension. So terminology is not there, that is the tuple comprehension. Now what exactly it is? It is the generator objects. It is the generator objects. So it will treat now as a generator. Otherwise it would be treat as a like this. If I use this, then it is tuple. Okay, it is tuple. Sorry, it is tuple. Okay, this is the concept of the tuple. But in the case of this, if I implement the same concept, that is the list comprehension, inside the tuple, now normally you will say it's a tuple comprehension, but tuple comprehension is no term inside the Python. The concept, when you implement such type of things, then this concept is called generator. Now it will become the generator. Now what exactly difference between list and generator, I will show you. Just have a look for one very simple program for the list comprehension, because I know you guys forgot about the list comprehension. And let's suppose this one is a list I. okay, I am using the Python is very easy. Now I need output. What exactly output that I need? I need output into this format. Okay, now please observe carefully. List inside list. Okay, list inside list. Now the output should be look like this. Okay, I am making it more, you know, the dynamic. Now the capital, everything should be capital, and what is the count of D? It contains 3 characters. Okay, so it should display this. Python, that is 6 characters. Is everything should be into the capital letter. Is, that is 2 characters. Okay, and very, it contains 4 characters. I need a count of all the characters. Okay, then again there is one more content, and that contain easy, EASY. Okay, the spelling mistake here, I am writing the correct spellings, and it would be 4. So I need this output, that is my requirement, but this output should be generated with the help of the list comprehension. Now whatever string you give inside this, whatever string you give, what output I need the every word count. So when I say you, I need a count of every word, immediately a term came inside your mind, that is the word. Now what is the, how you can find out the word, how you can consider it's a word? Okay, whenever the sequence of character come after space, according to the English terminology, you will consider it as a word. Okay, so this Python is a word. Again you get this space, is a word. Okay, again you get this space, very is a word. Now how we can implement this kind of things? So very simple, we know it. If I do this L dot split. Okay, if I do this, I will get the complete data. Whenever the space is came, it will automatically break it out, and what you will get a list respective to this string. Okay, because I use the split concept. The split concept, we know it. Whenever we left this split empty, it automatically break down the string according to the spaces. So it break down this the string according to the braces. Now our first task has been done, but this thing that we have to implement with the help of the list comprehension, and my required output is this one. I need this output, that is my problem statement. So how I can implement it? Very simple. Okay, I am taking one more list, and I am writing over here I, comma, len of I. Okay, and for I in L dot split. Now you can check, very simple. Now when I print Y, you will get the perfect output, but this time you need to consider everything into the upper. So we know how we can do the upper dot upper. Okay, now you can check it out. This is the perfect output that I am looking for. So how exactly it's work? Very simple. Rather than to write a 2 or 3 or 4 lines, I did a single line with the help of the list comprehension. What I did, for I in L dot split. Okay, this one is generated, and one by one it is assigned to I. In the first iteration I become D, in the second iteration I become Python, in the third iteration I become is, in the fourth iteration I become very, and in the fifth iteration I become easy. When it did the iteration, after doing the iteration, it returning the I, and what I am doing, I am assigning the list inside list. And what inside list I am doing? I am converting this I into the upper. I know the method that is available, I dot upper, and len, who will calculate the length of every character. In the first case, the I contain D, and the length of D is 3. So it is merging this. In the first case, in the first iteration, you are getting this list. Okay, because you can check it out. I segregate these two terms with the help of these braces, that is inside this list. Okay, this is the concept of the list comprehension. I achieved this output with the help of the list comprehension. So in the first iteration, when the I value become D, okay, it will generate this. This is the list. Okay, and where I am placing this list? Inside Y list. So this step is doing until the complete this string, this list has been completely iterated. It will work until that. I think the picture is more clear for the same. Very simple, very easy way. With the help of one line of code, I implement this particular use case, that I want this output, but with the help of the list comprehension. So try to convert your problems into the list comprehension, and this is the optimized way. How it is optimized way? Because it contains less memory, okay, and it generates the output as comparatively your 2 for loops. Here you have to use 2 for loops, okay, but I did the same thing with the help of 1 for loop, and you have to use append, because you are inserting the data after back into the while. So inserting the data into the another list, that we know the method, that is the append method. So I am saving the append method. The first, obvious, when I use such kind of methods, automatically memory consumes a lot. Okay, so this is the list comprehension. With the help of list comprehension, the things may become more easy, and this is the concept of the optimization. You can do the optimization. So try for this. Okay, this is the best way to solve the problem, because on inside net, when you search out some problems that is associated with the list or associated with the dictionary, people may use this kind of things. Inside tuple, the concept become different, that is the generator. Now I am going back to the main concept. Okay, now this is the generator. When I change the parenthesis, this become the generator. Now where is proof? When I print type of L, now you will get the output, that is the generator. Now what is the difference between list and generator? Automatically now you will see practically what exactly difference between list and generator. Okay, I am performing this operation. I am performing this operation. Now what will happen? It will wait for 5 minutes, and after that it will say the memory out of range error, because this is the huge value. This is the very large number. Okay, what operation I am performing? I am multiplying every value with itself. So in the first iteration, the value is 0, and then so 1, 2, 3, and up to this amount of data, and it is multiplying with itself again and adding it into the list. Okay, so for this, it is huge amount of, the operation. It will take huge amount of iteration, and now in this case the system is the system is hanged out. Okay, now you can check it out, the memory out of range error, the memory error basically, because it cannot support this amount of data. Why so? Because inside the list everything are stored into the memory. Okay, everything are stored into the memory. So now the same thing when I implement inside the generators. Okay, inside with the generator, you need to just change these braces. Nothing do special. Just change these braces. Now implement it. Okay, now if I print it for I in L, and now I am printing. Now you will check out the output. Now it will give you the output. Now you can check. This is the difference between the list comprehension and your generators. So in this case, okay, for stopping it, I am using Control-C. So in this case, what we did, okay, in this case, what exactly happened? In the case of list, it is storing each number inside the memory, and sometime your memory will say, okay, let's suppose the memory is assigned, let's suppose 2 GB, and after processing you generate the data that is more than 2 GB, then now it will say you, okay, memory out of range, I am not supposed to perform all the data, so please sorry. Okay, so but this is my problem statement that I have to achieve it. My client say you have to perform this kind of scenarios. Okay, for the same, now the next concept is called list, that is the generators. So inside generator, nothing is stored into the memory. It will call on, okay, it will execute on when it is call on. So when it executed, it printed, it executed, it printed, it executed, it printed. Nothing is storing inside the memory. So when we use this kind of concept, when you are, let's suppose you are reading the data from, very large amount of data from a file. Okay, very large amount of data from a file. Let's suppose there are this much amount of customers, that you want to read each and every one. Okay, with the full credential, name, the mobile number, okay, address, age, salary, whatever the the credentials are there, that you want to read it out. But if you perform this type of things, then it will say, okay, this is the memory error. On that particular point of time, you have to implement the generator concepts. So when you are supposed to process the large amount of data, at that time you have to implement the generators. Okay, list is the concept of the mutable. For the small amount of data, yes, it will work fine. Okay, if I perform the same thing for, let's suppose, 1000 elements, it will perfectly fine. Okay, now it's work perfectly. You can check it out. But when the data is large, because this all amount of data that is stored inside the memory, okay, stored inside the memory. This is the only difference between the generator and the list comprehension. Now I think the picture is clear. This is the only difference between list and your tuple. Okay, this is the only difference. Rest of the things are same. Both are a collection of the heterogeneous atom, and the one is fall under the category of the mutable, and the second one is fall under the category of the immutable objects. So this is all about your list, and there are only two operations that are associated with the list. You can check it out. There are only two operations: count and index. Nothing else that you can perform with the list. But let's suppose you want to change the data. For example, you are getting the list. Okay, but it is sometime the case is this one that yes, you have to change the data. Yes, you have to change the one way. You are supposed to reassign the data. Okay, let's suppose the T this time contain 10, 20, 30, 50, but you need one more value, that is the 5000. Okay, for the same, what you have to do, you have to reassign the data. You have to reassign the data. Okay, now this time the content has been changed, because in the first time the T contained this much amount of data, and after that T contained this much amount of data. Okay, because I reassign the value after performing this operation, I reassign the value. Okay, I assign the new values, and these are assigned to the T variable, that is the existing one. So this is the one case. Okay, this is the one case. And another way what you can do the typecasting. For example, now this time L is equal to this list of T. Now this is the one way. Now this become list. Okay, you do anything, whatever you want to do. You want to append something. Okay, append here. Okay, append here. Now happily appended, because this is the concept of the list. Now after processing this, you want to again convert into the tuple. For the same, what you will do, T is equal to typecasting. Now tuple of L. Now it become again the tuple. Okay, sorry. What you have to do, tuple. You have to print write over here tuple of this L. Now it become the tuple again. Now you can check the parentheses. So this is another way. Convert one data into the list, then perform operation, whatever operation you want to perform, because list support I think more than 20 operation. You can perform that 20 operation on this list. After performing the operation, after fulfill your requirement, what you can do, you can again convert it into the tuple. That is the concept of the typecasting. Getting the data in the form of the list or in the form of the tuple, and converting it into the form of the list, and perform the operation, whatever operation you want to perform. After that, again packed into the tuple. Okay, so this is the way. So there is one more concept that is called packing and unpacking, that is implemented both of the case, whether it is a list or it is a tuple. So for example, L is equal to this one, 10, 20. This concept is called packing. Okay, T is equal to this one, 10, like this time 100, 200. Okay, now this concept is called packing. I am packing this much amount of data into a tuple. Okay, now when I call T, automatically 100 and 200 will be called out. When I call L, automatically 10 and 20 will be displayed on the screen. Now this concept is called packing. That means I am packing these two objects into the list. I am packing these two objects into the tuple. And again the concept is unpacking. Okay, unpacking means to segregate them. So for the same, that let's suppose there are two values A, B, and if I do this, now A will be assigned, 100 will be assigned to A, 200 will assign to B. So this concept is called unpacking. Okay, this concept is called packing, and this concept is called unpacking. You can perform these two operations, and same thing implemented into the case of the list. Okay, let's suppose this one is the list, and again you want to perform this. Now you can check. Okay, now you can check. So this concept is called packing and unpacking of the list, packing and unpacking of the tuple. Sometime you can do this kind of, I think we perform this in the case of, when we got the two outputs from the user. At that time you simply use it, A is equal to this one, and so on. Okay, and so on, the list comprehension. So this is the concept of the tuple. Okay, that's it about the tuple. Try to do the practice with this, nothing else inside the tuple. The main important is list, because it contain the number of operation. Okay, the same thing that you can perform with the tuples, but the concept is this. It is the concept of the immutable objects. The immutable mean automatically came picture inside the mind. You are not supposed to change the content of the immutable object. That's it. Okay, whatever data you get, if you want to play it, just play with it. So now the next concept is called dictionary. The dictionary is nothing. For our convenience, we say it dictionary. Okay, but the main class is the major class that is called dict. The main class that is available inside the Python. But for our convenience, we normally say it's a dictionary, just like a string. The string is nothing inside Python. The main class is str. Okay, integer is nothing. The main class is int, something like this. So dictionary is collection of heterogeneous object. Now the representation of dictionary is this one, with the help of these curly braces. With the help of these curly braces, you are supposed to represent a dictionary. Now it's a dictionary. So proof for the same, when you print type of D, you will get the output that is the class of dict. Okay, that is the class of dict. You will get this output. So what is dictionary? Now the question is, what is dictionary? Dictionary is collection of heterogeneous key value pair. Okay, it is the collection of basically key value pair. Don't consider the heterogeneous. Just say it. It is the collection of the key value pair. Okay, now what is the key? What is value? Observe it. This is the representation of the dictionary. For example, okay, this is the key and this is the associated value. Let's suppose the value is Ram. Okay, and this one is the key 2. The value is Ravi. Okay, now third time I am making dictionary 101. It can be anything. Okay, again the value is 201. Yes, acceptable. It is not hard and fast rule. Key should be into the into the integer and the value should be into the string. It is not something like this. You can use key as a string, you can use value as a string, and you can use the combination of both. Okay, let me show you what is the meaning of that. Let's suppose the key is this time Ram. Okay, the key is this time Ram and the value is this time, let's suppose, Kumar. Okay, now in the next case, the key is this time Raju. Okay, the value is this time, let's suppose, this one. Okay, so yes, it is acceptable. It is acceptable. There is no hard and fast rule that key should always be into the integer. So because when I teaching, when I taught this subject to anyone, immediately question came inside, sir, is key always should be integer? No, it is not like that. Okay, key can be integer, as I prove for you. Key can be integer. Okay, value can anything. Okay, well, in this case the value is your string. In this case the integer key, integer value. In this case the key is in string and the value is again string. And in this case the key is string, the value is integer. So this is the concept of the dictionary. So now keep one thing inside the mind. This is the concept of the mutable. Now mutable, we know very well, the content has been changed. The content has been changed. So in this case, okay, in this case, your key should be unique. Key should be unique. Just consider a case of the roll number. Okay, because here slicing and indexing is not applicable. Why so? Here slicing and indexing is not applicable. Why so? Because this is not a it's not a continuous memory location. So here, if I am talking about this Ravi is nothing. Okay, the identity of Ravi is 2. So one more case. Okay, one more case. Now it can be happen 101. The key is unique and the value can same. Ram. Yes, it can be happen. Now consider this case with your the class roll numbers or university roll numbers. The name of the two person can be same, but the roll number can never be same. So it will consider like this. Your key should always be unique. If you try to use the same key, it will override the existing value. Now let me show you the same thing inside the the shell. So I am copying it. I am copying it and I am pasting over here. Okay, now understand it. So this is the dictionary with the collection of the key and value pair. Now how I can access the data from the dictionary? Because here the slicing is not implemented. Okay, slicing and indexing is not implemented. Okay, if you try to do this, you will immediately get an error message. Okay, that is slicing, that is unhashable type. So how I can get the data? If you want to process any, any roll number inside your class, that you have to supply the roll number, or you have to call that roll number, automatically the concerned person will come inside the picture. So same thing over here. The key is identity, and the value whatever value you assign after these columns, that would be considered, that would be associated value to that key. For example, RAM inside class, that you can say, okay, 101 RAM. Okay, let's suppose you say RAM. There can be n number of RAMs. There can be 5 RAMs can be there. Okay, 5 RAMs can be there. But if you say roll number 1, there is only 1 RAM. So keep this point into the mind, because it play the important role. Okay, sometimes we use dictionary because dictionary are very fast as comparatively other data types. Now observe the scenario. If I want to process the value, that you have to supply the key. Okay, I am calling the roll number 1. I am calling the roll number 1. So now you will get the RAM. Okay, let's suppose the key is not there and I want to process that data. Let's suppose 1000 key. That is not there. But I try to fetch it out. Now you will get the error message, that is the key error. That's mean this key is not available and you are trying to fetch it. Okay, this time this key is not available and you are trying to fetch it. So it is the concept of the mutable, as I already told you. Okay, for the same, if I, let's suppose if I reassign the value, the earlier the roll number 1 contained, the key 1 contained the value, that is RAM, but this time I am changing the value to Vikas. Okay, when I press this, now you print D. Now the roll number 1, the earlier the value is RAM, now the value has been changed to the Vikas. Why so? Because this is the concept of the mutable. So keep this point into the mind while attempting this kind of the things, that is the dictionary. The key should always be unique. If the key is not unique, then it will override the existing data. It will lose to your previous data. So it is very important in the context of key. That should be unique. Okay, this is an important one to enter into the dictionary, because we didn't discuss right now any the method that are associated with the dictionary. Yes, there are approximately 10 to 12 methods which are associated with this dictionary. We will discuss step by step. First we have to make the base. Okay, let's suppose this is the error message. By mistake the person passed this. You ask from the user, okay, what roll number that you want to process. By mistake that roll number is entered by the user, that is not available, then you will get the error message. But I don't want this error message. So how I can proceed? Now understand it. Let's suppose the user enter, the key is 1000. Okay, the key is 1000. Very simple. I know this key is not available, but user don't know this key is not available. If I handle this scenario, if I directly pass this D of X, then you will get the key error, that key is not available. Now your program will be terminated. But what I want user will get a message that the key entered by you, that is not available. Okay, the value that entered by you, that is not available. For the same, how I can handle this situation? So for the same, if I ask the value from the user and user enter the value inside the X. Very simple, the same scenario with the help of the input. Now X, let's suppose X in D. Okay, X in D. Now if X in D, then print it, then print D of X. Okay, then print D of X, else print key is not available. Yeah, value, that means the roll number, whatever you ask from the user. Let's suppose we are using key is not available. Okay, now in this case what will happen? The X user enter 1000. I know the 1000 key is not available inside this dictionary. Okay, I handle this situation. Rather than to give that error message, I simply handle this situation. And if X in D, I know in operation. If it is in D, then proceed it, otherwise no need to proceed it. So for the same, if x in D, then print D of x. That means I am doing the concept of the fetching the data. Okay, the same thing. Otherwise, simply just display the message on the screen. The key is not available. When I press enter, now you can check it out, because the 1000 key is not available. Now this time the user enter 1, and you know the 1 key is available. So the same logic, you will get the output, that is the Vikas. Okay, so this is the difference. This is the way to handle that error. Okay, because there is no direct method inside Python 3, but inside Python 2, yes, there is a direct method. That method name is called hasKey, automatically specified by its name, hasKey. Okay, but inside Python 3 there is no method that is called hasKey. Basically that method is has_key. Okay, so this is the way to handle this type of scenarios. Now inside the next, so we move ahead. Inside this dictionary, we know the concept of the mutable. In the case of dictionary, we know how to process the value, we know how to change the value. Okay, if you want to process this Ram, now you will get the Kumar, because this time this key value pair came into this picture. Okay, when you press D101, now you will get the Ram. Now this time I pass this key. Keep this point, I am not doing slicing over here. I am passing the key. Okay, I am passing the key. If the key is available, then you will get the output. Otherwise you will get the key error. So in this case, keep this point into the concept is little bit same. Exactly, it's look like the same. Okay, in the case of list, it mean it is the index. It is the index in the case of list. But in the case of dictionary, it is a key. So if the key is available there, so with the help of with the help of for loop, you have to take the advantage of for loop. Otherwise you cannot pass 2 keys or 3 keys. That is not acceptable. Okay, so now proceeding with the methods which are associated with this key. So let's discuss one by one. So now take a very simple program, very simple. So this dictionary can, one more thing, this dictionary can contain, let's suppose 1 colon 10, 20, 30. Okay, yes, this is valid operation. You have to use over here curly braces. Okay, so this is the valid operation. X of 1 you will get 10, 20, 30. You are getting this list. Value can contain a list. Okay, value can contain a list. So in this case, let's suppose now you will get the 30. So this is a key, and after processing key you are getting this, and what you are doing the slicing, and this is the list. Now this concept is slicing. When you pass these two, that means it's a slicing. Okay, it's a slicing. So now it can again like this, yes, it can again like this. The value is a dictionary, a set. It's a set. Okay, it's a set. Now it can be again the dictionary of dictionary. Yes, this is acceptable. Now the X contain dictionary. Okay, this is the key, and again the value is combination of the key value pair. Now I passing X of 1 and I am passing 2. Now you are getting this value. So you can do such operation on side the dictionary. Okay, these are acceptable. Now let's do a very small and very easy program. Okay, I am making a very small program for you guys. So record is my dictionary. Okay, and I am asking n is equal to input of how many students that you want to enter. Enter number of student you want to enter. You want to enter. Okay, now you want to enter. Now that's mean I'm asking from user, okay, how many students that you want to enter. Let's suppose he says, okay, I want to enter 5 students. So my loop will execute for 5 times. That's mean I have to take the data from the 5 students. The student number 1, student number 2, student number 3, 4, 5 and so on. Let me ask from the user, okay, how many entries that you want to enter. So in this case, what I am making a program who will ask from the user how many students that you want to enter, and after that one by one, if let's suppose I say 5 students, then my loop will iterate for 5 times, and 5 times it will ask name or it will ask roll number and marks. Okay, again for roll number 2 it will ask roll number 2 and marks, 3 marks, 4 marks, 5 marks. Okay, it will execute for 5 times, and after that you have to store the data into the dictionary. Very simple program. Let's suppose the roll number 101, you need a data something like this. Let's suppose the marks is 80. For the 102 the marks is 90. That I need this output. Okay, and so on up to 105. So that is my required statement that I want. Okay, for that I am asking from user everything user will enter. The marks user will enter, you know, the roll number user will enter, and the user will enter how many times that you want to enter. That's mean how many students that you want to enter. Okay, so that is my problem statement. For the same, that first line I am asking from user enter number of students that you want to enter. Okay, let's suppose he says 5. That's mean n contain 5. My loop will execute for 5 times. So very simple. We know we can take the help of, you know, the for loop. You can take the help of while loop. So this time I am just refreshing your while loop. Okay, while I, so I value starting 1, while I less than equals to 5. So it will execute until the y value doesn't become 6. Okay, it will execute for 1, it will execute for 2, 3, 4, 5. Whenever the I value becomes 6, automatically the loop will be break out. So but I want to execute this loop according to the user. So user enter the value inside n. Rather than to take 5, I am taking n. So it's mean user enter 5, that's mean automatically it become 5. That's mean this while loop execute 5 times. Let's suppose user enter 10, it will execute for 10 times because n value 10. Okay, let's suppose user enter 2, then it will execute only for 2 times because n value become 2. You have assigned the n value, you have to ask the value from the user. So for the same, now in the first iteration, okay, what will do, it will ask roll number. Okay, so I am using R variable and I am converting it into the int input of enter roll number. Okay, user enter roll number. In the next case I am asking marks. Okay, marks, then again I am copying it, I am pasting it, input enter marks. Okay, user will ask roll number and marks. Okay, now the next concept is that you want to store this data. You want to store this data into the records. So for entering the data into the records, what you have to do, okay, rec of, okay, rec of R. Okay, R mean 101 and you are assigning the value. What value you are assigning? M. Okay, and what you have to do, I plus equals to 1 because you have to increment I value as well. So the record contain the data. How many students you enter, that is stored inside the record. Okay, now you want to print it for I in REC. Okay, I in REC. Very simple iteration. Okay, now you can do the concept of the key and value. You will pass the key and automatically value will be there. Now print for the same roll is, okay, roll is, the roll is I and marks are D of REC of I. That's it. Okay, so I think you guys have little confusion on this. So let me show you first this, then I will execute this program. Okay, so this is my dictionary. I am taking the same one. let me take this dictionary. Okay, this is a dictionary. D is equal to this one. Okay, I execute the for loop for I in D. Okay, now what I will contain? In the first iteration I will contain 1. In the second iteration I will contain 2. In the third iteration I will contain 101. Next iteration Ram. Next iteration Raju. Let me print this I, so the picture would be more clear. Now you can see the 1, you are getting 1. Again the next key 2, you are getting 2. Next key 101, you are getting 101. Again the Ram, again the Raju. You will get this type of data. Now what can I do? I want the value. I want the value as well. For the same, now you captured the key. You captured the key. Now you have to pass the key into the dictionary. When you will pass the key into the dictionary, automatically that respected value will be there. So if I consider this one, what I did, D of I. Now I starting value 1 and 1 value is Ram. Now this time Ram. Okay, then I value become 2. Now I pass this into the key. I value become 2. Then you will get Ravi. Now 101 you will get Ram. Ram you will get Kumar. Raju you will get this value. Now check it out. Okay, now you will get values. Now you are getting the values. The same thing. Okay, now I want key as well as value. So what you have to do? Simply you are using this I. That's mean I contain key and D of I contain the respected value of that key. So you will get this. Now the same thing I am implementing over here. Prior to this you want to display message. For the same, that you have to use key. Okay, key, the string. Okay, then you have to print value. Okay, so the value. Now you check the output. Now you check the output. Okay, the key 1 the value Ram, key 2 the value Ravi, key 3 the value 101 and Ram. Same thing, instead of printing this key, this is roll number and this one is the respected marks that is related to this roll number. So same thing I am implementing over here. So here this concept, okay, this concept I am assigning the value, very simple. Okay, user ask from the user. Okay, let's suppose user enter 101 roll number, and again in the next input, that please enter the marks. You enter the marks 79. Okay, now this has been added. This has been added. Now you can check it out. This set has been added. The same thing, let's suppose the roll number is equal to 1010, this one, let's suppose 1000. Okay, the roll number is 1000, and again you ask the marks. The marks is, let's suppose 1 2 3. Now you have to set this value into the dictionary. I know this is my dictionary. For the same, that you have to pass key and you have to assign the value, that is M. So this thing has been appended. Sorry, this thing has been appended. Now you can check at the end of the dictionary, you will get this message. So this thing I am repeating again and again and again and again. I am asking dynamically this value R, I am asking dynamically this value M, and after that I am performing it. Okay, then I am iterating the I value plus 1. Okay, now I value become 2 and I know 2 is less than 5. Let's suppose the user enter 5. So it will run again, it will reassign again. It will reassign again. Okay, so let me run this. So the picture would be more clear. Save as student dict.py. Okay, how many students that you want to enter? Let's suppose 3. Okay, enter the roll number 1, enter the marks this one. Okay, enter the roll number 1 2. Okay, enter the marks 4 3 2. Okay, enter the roll number, that is 3. Okay, now the marks is this much. Now you can check. The roll number is 1, marks are 2 3 3. Roll number is 12, the marks are 4 3 2. Roll number is 3, the marks are 1 2 3. Okay, so this is the way by which you can process the data. But one more assignment for you guys. Now in this case, in the next case, what I need, okay, you should have asked the city, okay, the class or branch, name, ask name, okay, marks and branch. So I need dictionary something like this. That is your assignment. Let's suppose the roll number 1 is 1. Now this one is the dictionary. Okay, this one is the basically data. Okay, let's suppose the name of the person is Ram, marks are 80. Okay, and your department is CSE or branch is CSE. I need this output. Okay, this is assignment for you guys. I need a data into this format. That's mean it will, when it will display what output you will get over here, the roll number is 1, the marks are this one, and the city is this one, and branch is this one. So that is your assignment for you. Okay, and very simple program is this one. So move to the next. What next inside the dictionary? So now understand the associated method of dictionary. Okay, I am closing it and reopening it. Now the same. Okay, D 10 camera 10 200. Okay, 11 300 12 400. Okay, so this is my dictionary. The first thing is clear. We know it, the meaning of clear, that you clear the dictionary. The data has been deleted out. Okay, now you will get an empty dictionary with the help of this clear that we already discussed in the case of the list. So the next is del of D. Now what is the meaning of this? We know very well the meaning of del is to remove the existence of a dictionary. Okay, that's mean I am removing the existence of this D from the memory. So after performing this, when you print D, you will get the error message. D is not defined. Why so? Because I remove it from the memory. So this is the two methods that are associated with the dictionary. The one is the clear and the second one is the del of D. Very simple. Okay. So the next is len. Let's suppose dictionary. The dictionary is this one. You want to calculate the len of D. Now it will give you 3. Why so? Because it contains 3 key value pairs. Okay, it contains 3 value pairs. The method is same, len. Okay, basically this is the function. The len is a function who will return the length. In the case of, the tuple, yes, it is applicable inside the tuple as well. Okay, you can implement this thing into the tuple as well. Let me show you. Okay, len of T. It is applicable inside this tuple. So you are getting the same. Okay, in the case of dictionary, it will count the number of key value pair and it will return you the value. Okay, how many key value are there. So the next is get method. Okay, get method. Now understand it very carefully. What is the meaning of get? To achieve something. Okay, the same meaning inside Python. And this method is associated with the dictionary. And when I say it is associated with the dictionary, automatically came inside your mind that is the key and value pair. So how we can fetch the data from dictionary? With the help of keys. So that's mean it is associated with the dictionary. If something is associated with the dictionary, that has to play with the keys. So this is the first funda. So when I use get method, I know the English meaning of get, to achieve something. So get, what you will get? I want to get the value. How you can get the value? With the help of key. The same thing over here, d dot get. Okay, what you want to get? I want to get 10. Okay, I want to get 10. That's mean you have to supply the key and you will get the associated value. This is similar like this. This is similar like this. Okay, exactly same. Now what is the difference between these two operations? In this operation, we are fetching the data with the help of get. In this operation, we are passing the key and we are fetching the data. Okay, now observe this scenario. Let's suppose this 1000. This 1000 key is not available. And with this method, when you fetch the data, you will get the error message. Okay, you will get the error message. But the same thing with the help of get. Okay, with the help of get. Now you will get none. No error. Why so? Because 1000 key is not there. If the 1000 key is not there, then it will return you. Then it will return you none. Okay, so this is the difference between these two ways to fetching the data. One is with the method and the second one is to passing the key and get the data. So in this case, when the key is not there, you will get the none. None means nothing. You are not getting any kind of error. You are getting this none. Okay, but in this case, you are getting the getting the key error. So choice is again here. If you want to tackle this, you know very well, you have to take the advantage of if condition, but you don't want to use if, the simply that you can use this get. Okay, you can use this get. So the next is pop. The same thing is pop. Okay, now pop, we know the meaning of the pop, to removing. In the case of list, let's suppose if I use this pop, how it's implemented, 10, 20, 30. Okay, L dot pop. Now what you get? You get the last item that is deleted from the list. Okay, in the case of list. Okay, in the case of list. And the second way you used with this. Okay, this time you will get the index error. Why so? Because this time I passed the index, and that index is not applicable. Okay, I am specifyingly describing over here the list. Okay, list. Now if you want to remove the index, so you have to pass the index. So one index, that means 20 has been removed from this list. This pop can be used with two ways in the case of list. The same method is available inside the dictionary. Okay, for dictionary the usage is something like this. So there we pass the index, but here we don't know the index is nothing in the case of dictionary. Then what you have to pass? You have to pass the key. Okay, if you want to remove the key, now come to the main point. If you want to remove the key, then what you have to do? You have to pass that key in the pop. Okay, in the pop. Now you are getting the, okay, sorry, because L is a list. Okay, L is a list. So that's why it giving you the error message, because in this case it take as an index. Now you have to pass this method to the dictionary. For dictionary, what you have to do? D dot pop. Okay, what key that you want to remove? 10 key that you want to remove. Now this has been removed. This pair has been removed. Okay, if I again print it, now you can check this pair has been removed. Why so? Because I use the pop. Pop of 10 mean that I am removing the 10. If I am removing the 10, if I am removing the key, a value automatically removed, because value doesn't have any significance after the key has been removed. Okay, so this is the way. Now the same thing, one more time I am using, this time I am passing 1000. Now you will get the key error. The same thing. In the case of this, in the case of list, you are getting the list error, that is the index out of range. But in the case of key, let's suppose this key is not available and you are trying to remove that key. The key is not available, but you are trying to remove that key, you will get the key error. So pop is exactly similar to your list. Okay, the pop is exactly similar to your list, but here you cannot pass the empty pop. Okay, it will ask for one parameter. Okay, it is at least one argument that you have to pass, but you got 0. So you cannot use empty pop inside a dictionary, but inside list, yes, you can use it. Inside list you can use empty pop. That's not an issue. So move to the next. Now what is the role of the pop inside, inside this list? It will remove the arbitrary element. It will remove the arbitrary element. That means it will remove the last element, that is the 40. But same thing I want to perform inside the dictionary. Okay, I want randomly any element will be deleted from this list, from this dictionary. So for the same, that method name is called d dot pop item. So now it will remove the randomly any element, but this time it remove the last one. So it doesn't guarantee that it always return the last element. Okay, it doesn't give you the guarantee, for because here the elements are less, that's why it say okay, I am deleting the last one. Okay, so pop item is there, that is similar to the pop inside the list. Inside the pop, the last item will be deleted. Why so? Because this is the consecutive memory location, but here the memory location is not consecutive, as I told you in the starting of this lecture. So it will remove arbitrary element, any key value pair with the help of this pop item. You can remove any key value pair, okay, with the help of this pop item. So we have pop and we have pop item, and when you want to remove specific key, then you have to use pop. Okay, and it is mandatory that you have to pass that key, whatever key that you want to remove. But in the case of pop item, there is no need to pass any key. It will automatically pick any key value pair and remove it from the dictionary. So one more time if I run this, okay, one more time if I run this, now you will check. This time I am reassigning this into the dictionary, and this time I am taking the name of the dictionary DD, and I am assigning some more values. Okay, because here the values are less, that's why it will remove the last one always. Okay, so these are the key value pair. Now I enter the same thing. Now this time dd.pop. Okay, so because the values are less, that's why it picking always the last element. If the values are very high, then it will pick out the random element. Okay, so the next is your keys. Okay, the next method is your key. Okay, I want to check out only keys, then what is the way? dd. Okay, dd is my dictionary dot keys is a method. Now you will get the iterable object 10, 11, 12, 13 and 5. Okay, because I have these keys only, because I already removed this 9-1 key. Okay, so if I check it out, dd, now you will get 10, 11, 12, 13, 5. But I want to check out with the help of this method. So this is the way. Okay, you can iterate them. How I can iterate them? For I in dd.keys. Okay, dd.keys, print of I. Very simple. Okay, now you will get only keys. Okay, only keys. This is the one way. Another way, you know, you have to simply use over here dd. That's it. Another way is this one. Okay, but specifically there is a specific method if you want to play with the keys. Okay, the keys is a method that is available inside dictionary. Okay, now the next is the values. Now values automatically specify itself that I will iterate the values. Okay, I will iterate the values. Now this time you will get the values. Okay, now you can check this dictionary, and after performing this value method, you will get only values. This is the way to fetch the values from the dictionary. Okay, so this is the way. Now there is one more method. You want both. Okay, you want values. Okay, you want keys simultaneous. You want both. Okay, you want values, you want keys. For the same, that what you have to do? Items. Okay, items. Now this time it will return two items. Okay, I and j I am using over here. Now I comma j. Now you can check it out. Now it will returning the complete pair. Inside I, you are getting the 10. Inside j, you are getting 200 in first iteration. In second iteration, you are getting 11 and 300, 12 and 400, 13 and 344, 5 and 8 and 994. Okay, so with the help of these items, that you are iterating the both of the pair, key and value pair. Okay, so this is the concept of the items. Now the next one is your copy. The same thing. This one is your dictionary. Okay, now we know very well what is the meaning of copy, that is the cloning. Now inside C, dd.copy. Okay, dd.copy. Now print C, print dd. If any changes made inside CC, that won't reflect into dd. If any change made inside dd, that won't reflect to CC, because I copied it. I am not making the clone of the same. I am copying it. Okay, for the cloning, that you can use this. Let's suppose xx is equal to dd. Now this concept is called cloning. This concept is called cloning. Why so? Because I am referring it. I am not reassigning it. Here I did the concept of the reassigning. That's mean I make the clone of this existing dd inside C. So this is the process. This is the way by which you can copy, and this is the way why you can do the aliasing. That's me referencing. Now this is the concept, the same exactly same concept that we already discussed inside the list as well. Now the same again, the update. Okay, update. Now you want to update d with dd, d dot update of dd. Okay, now check the items for the dd. Earlier it contained only this one, but when I perform this update operation, now it contains this data as well, because this has been updated. This d has been updated with the dd. Okay, this D has been updated with DD with the help of this update. The same thing inside, you know, the inside your list as well. We perform the same thing inside list. Okay, so I think these are the method which are associated with the your dictionary. Okay, let me check if any. Okay, so get method from key, you can check it out. Rest of the method almost we discuss all the methods. Okay, set default, update. Okay, set default, let me explain this. Now understand this method, set default. Okay, what is the meaning of the set default? That I want to set this value as default value. Okay, I name it automatically specify the definition of the methods. Set default, the meaning of set default, that I want to set this value as a default value. Now this is my dictionary, understand this point very carefully. This is my dictionary. Okay, now dd dot set default. When I use this set default, now understand it. Okay, I am passing this key 10. Okay, and I am passing this key NITIL. Now what will happen? Observe carefully. Set default, listen carefully. Set default is a method inside a dictionary. Okay, when we use this method inside dictionary, it take two arguments. Okay, it take two arguments. The one is key and the second one is value. So this is the first funda. If you want to use a default inside dictionary, it is taking two arguments. The first argument would be considered as a key and the second argument would be considered as a value. This is the first funda. Now understand carefully. When I pass this 10, the 10 key is available. The 10 key is available inside this dictionary. That's why it return me the associated value. Listen carefully. I pass this key, that is 10, and this 10 is available inside the dictionary. That's why it return me the associated value, that is the 200. This is the one case. Okay, in the second case, 1000 is not available. The 1000 key is not available. Okay, now if you pass this 1000 key, and this key is not available inside the Python or inside your dictionary basically, then what will happen? It will make this as key value pair. Okay, it will make it as a default key value pair and assign it over here. Now let me show you how. Now if I press DD, now you can observe there is one new key value pair, that is the 1000 and my name, because I use this set default. When I use this 10, why it give me return 200? Because this key is available over there. That's why it return me the associated value to that key. But in this case, this key is not available, then it settle down this value as a default key value pair. So it become the default key value pair inside my existing dictionary. So this is the concept of the set default method. I think we discussed all the methods which are associated with this key. Okay, copy, key, keys, values, clear, cloning, update, get, okay, set default, and these things. Okay, so this is the way. Now okay, let me show you get one more way how I can use get. Okay, d.get of 11, we know it will return the associated value. If this value is not there, let's suppose this key is not there, it will return you none. But you don't want none. You want your name. Okay, whenever the key is not there, you want your specific value. For example, I have to specify over here, the key is not there. Okay, now this time you are getting this key is not there. Okay, when I pass this 10, the key is there, now you will get the associated value. Now this is the beauty of get. So your problem of if is sorted out. So you can simply use this get. Okay, you can simply use this get, d.get 10, the key is not there. Okay, So let's suppose I pass the key that is 12. I know the 12 key is available inside this dictionary. Now this time you will get the output that is the 400. Sorry, syntax error. Now you will get the 400. Okay, why so? Because this 12 key is available. Let's suppose I pass 1 to 1. That key is not available. Now this time it will return you the key is not available. Whatever value that you want to return, that you have to specify over here. Okay, this is the another usage of your get and set default. They can use sometime. Okay, sometime where your error has been resolved out. Okay, for example, in this case you are finding that key and that key is not available, you will get the key error. But you don't want any key error, you want your own customized message, you have to pass your own customized message. Okay, so this is the concept of your dictionary. Now the same thing, that is the dictionary comprehension that you can use inside this Python. Same, exactly same. Yes, this time this is the dictionary comprehension. Now I colon I into I. Okay, I colon I into I. Automatically you will understand the concept after implementing this. For I in range of 10. Now you will automatically understand it. Now you can automatically understand it. What is happening over here? The first value I becomes 0. 0 multiplied by 0. That means the key value pair becomes 0, 0. I value become 1. I 1 multiplied by 1, that is 1. The key value pair become 1 colon 1. Then again I value become 2. Okay, the key become 2 and the value become 2 into 2, that is 4. Okay, next time 3, 3 into 3, 9, 4, 4 into 4, 16, 5, 5 into 5, 25 and so on. You will get this one. So this is all about your dictionary. Assignment for you. One is the name of student, the branch of student and the marks of student and the roll number. Roll number would be considered as a key. The rest of things would be considered as a credential of that particular student. And what you have to do, you have to display this data on the screen in appropriate manner. Now you know everything. Okay, you know the methods of string, this dictionary, you know, and please apply that methods. Second assignment, what you have to do, the same program that you implemented with while loop, you keep remember, I think the program was username and password. Okay, that we did into the while loop section, where the user enter username and password. After that, after attempting 3 wrong attempts, you are hacked out into the system and so on. Okay, so the same program that you have to implement with the dictionary, where you use the static values. Now this time you will use the dictionary. You will generate a key value pair. Okay, over there let's suppose you register 5 username and passwords. Okay, you register 5 username and password. It will work for 5 different username and password, because there are 5 usernames and 5 passwords inside your dictionary. Your username will treat as your key and password will treat whatever value that you assigned. Okay, so this is the thing that you have to implement. The same concept, the username and password concept inside the dictionary. That is your second assignment. Okay, first assignment was student detail and the second assignment this one, and the third assignment inside this string. Okay, inside this string, let's suppose this is the string. Okay, now you have to count how many A's are there. Let's suppose there are 5 A's. Okay, how many B's are there? Let's suppose there are 10 B's. Okay, and so on. So I need this. Okay, in this case that you have to find out display the data into this format. What is the occurrence of A, what is the occurrence of B. So this is these 3 assignments that are associated with the dictionary, and you have 4 to 5 previous assignments that is in the case of your the list that you have to done. So any question before close this session, please ask me. हाँ जी, anyone have